Yeah. Praise the Lord. Yeah. You switch off that. Not needed. Yeah. So now we went to YouTube Live. ఆಗಿದೆ
సౌండ్ రావట్లేదు, క్లియర్ గా రావట్లేదు.
Can you call to David Anna?
Sure. Want to talk?
No, he will sing. It's coming, huh? Voice is coming clear.
Just talking.
Praise the Lord. It's very much clear. It's because of fan. Switch on the fans. Switch on the fan. Full speed. Create some noise. Full speed. All four. Just check now. Check Mari. Just see the noise. Check Mari. Whistling, right?
It's not coming good. You do one thing.
Because of
Turn on YouTube, play one song, and put song there. Put your
No other argument. I'll never say.
from there.
I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died, and that he died for me. So every time you talk about Jesus, you cry. You can't live this long and see that much faithfulness, that much mercy, that much unconditional love without it breaking your heart every time you open your mouth. Well, let's get to our text. Romans 12, verse 1. Therefore, I urge you, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. Now, just by way of review, he's urging them to do the greatest thing a person can do, to give the greatest sacrifice possible, to offer their lives, that one life you have, unto God. Lock, stock, and barrel. Every bit of it to God. That's what he's urging you to do. Then he gives you a great motivation. The mercies of God. That's what I've been talking be holy and alive. Then in verse 2, he tells us how we can prepare that sacrifice, how we can grow in transforming grace, that we might be acceptable to God, that we might be pleasing to God. And then, after becoming conformed to the image of Christ, dealing with that matter, he goes on, how do we serve him? And if you notice, he begins to talk about the church. We serve him in the context of the people of God. Now, most of you know how strongly I feel about family and how we ought to do what the Bible commands with regard now to your about in so easy, difficult. To starting same says you do not. There are things you should not do or participate in. There are things that you should not even listen to. There are things that should not be mentioned among you. You must understand this. There must be a degree of separation. Why? Well, first of all, look, the devil is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. So I'm not afraid of the devil. You know nothing. You know nothing. You've never seen him. You know nothing. That mouth of his is a pit full of rotting flesh and dead men's bones. If you had half the spiritual sense you ought to have, you would be terrified to move in his realm. I have seen him take down stronger men and women than those upon whom I'm looking at this moment. There are certain things you should fear. You should be afraid. And then there's not only that, there's the influence of the world. Paul says, even with regard to, and when he gets to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and there's this denial of the idea of a resurrection, he throws in there something you don't expect. He said, bad company corrupts good morals. And not only their ethic was being influenced by ungodly, unbiblical influences, but even their doctrine, their manner of thinking. And that's where it all starts. It all starts in the mind. Doubts. Hath God said? Hath God said? Are you sure about that? And then there's the distrust we should have for ourselves. I heard a father one time, it was amazing. His young boy was something 15 or 16 years old and wanted to go out and do something, go out to somewhere with this young lady. And he said, no, I don't believe you have. No, you shouldn't. Not in this instance, no. And a man was standing there listening and says, "What's wrong? Don't you trust your son?" He goes, "No, I don't trust my son. I don't trust his dad." You're all too trusting in yourself. It'll only take a few failures, hopefully, to turn your thinking on. I do not trust myself. I know something of my weakness, and even if I haven't experienced it all, I've read the scriptures, and the scriptures tell me of my weakness. There are things I will not do, places I will not go, and people I will not be with. I must protect myself. Now, holding your place there in Romans, run over to the book of Psalms and look at what we have here, chapter 1. How blessed is the man, blessed. Very difficult word, very difficult word. It's just like a huge bag or container filled up with everything that comes out of a right relationship with God. I mean, you could spend days just going through what it means to be blessed, but it's someone who is walking in a right relationship with God and has God's favor and God's care. God is intimately acquainted with this person and intimately acquainted sovereignly with his ways, guiding, protecting, above, below. And what's this blessed man like? How blessed is the man who does not. Isn't that amazing? You see, when people talk about how can I be blessed, especially these TV preachers, it always starts with what you should do. But what you should do really doesn't बसेंगे स्वर्ग में। कोई रोकी भी नहीं, रोकता होगा कोई रोकी भी नहीं, रोकता होगा कोई रोकी भी नहीं, रोकता होगा कोई रोकी भी नहीं। यीशु का राज्य होगा ना होगी दिशा, महिमा देखेंगे और झूमेगा जहां। यीशु का राज्य होगा ना होगी दिशा, महिमा देखेंगे और झूमेगा बादलों पर यीशु राजा देखो आने वाला है। बादलों पर यीशु राजा देखो आने वाला है। देखा जाएगा अपनों को सांस में बसेंगे स्वर्ग में। देखा जाएगा अपनों को सांस में बसेंगे स्वर्ग में।
हर चीज का भाव बढ़ गया है। दूध 5 रुपए से, सेब 30 रुपए से, पेट्रोल का भाव तो बीपी बढ़ा देता है।
बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय, बोलो जय जय जय। प्रेम की तेरी यही रीत मन में भर दे अपनी प्रीत। प्रेम की तेरी यही रीत मन में भर दे अपनी प्रीत। तेरे प्रेम के गाएगी, तेरे प्रेम के गाएगी। बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय।
मुझे पापी को दी शिफा, क्रूस पर वहाँ मुझे पापी को दी शिफा। मन मेरे तू बोल सदा, मन मेरे तू बोल सदा।
बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय जय जय। तेरी कुदरत की यह शान, खुद ही दाता खुद ही दान। तेरी कुदरत की यह शान, खुद ही दाता खुद ही दान। पूरे कर मन के अरमान, पूरे कर मन के अरमान। बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय जय जय।
से इस मंदिर में तू ही बसे, इस तू ही बसे। जग में तेरा नाम रहे, जग में तेरा नाम रहे।
बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय मिलकर जय, बोलो जय यीशु की जय, बोलो जय जय जय। बोलो जय जय जय।
बोलो जय जय जय।
You might be stuck in Bangalore traffic, but your pizza won't be. Domino's guarantees 20 minutes doorstep delivery or you get your pizza absolutely free. Sorry, just 20 minutes. Get hot, fresh and tasty pizza from Domino's. Order now. Domino's.
Virtually will be set up. Or at what time you coming home from office?